Hi, we often need to say no to others in our life. How do you say no to others? Today I'm going to share with you an ancient Chinese story called 盆水杀人, which means killing people with a basin of water. This story was recorded in an ancient Chinese book called Han Fei Zi. The book was written 2000 years ago by a Chinese philosopher called Han Fei. The story is like this. During the spring and autumn period of China, there was a person named Yi She. He lived in the Qi state. He was a very important official working for the king, and he and the king of the Qi state were close friends. One day in winter, the king got bored, so the king invited Yi She to his palace to drink wine with him. The imperial wine tasted so much better than ordinary wine, so Yi She drank it very happily. The two men drank it until the latter half of the night. According to palace regulations, no adult men were allowed to stay overnight in the palace. As you know, the king had many concubines in his palace. So the king said, it's late, Yi She. You should get back home. Yi She said, okay, thank you, your majesty. I'm leaving now. So Yi She stood up and was about to leave. Then the king said, wait a second, don't you like the wine? I have prepared 2 gourds of wine for you. You can take some home and share them with your family. Yi She opened the gourds of the wine. The imperial wine smelled so good. Yi She was deeply touched. He knelt down and kowtowed to thank the king for his kindness and generosity. After that, he hung the 2 gourds of wine on his waist and came out. So when Yi She walked clumsily to the gate, and he found the gate was already closed. After drinking so much wine, he really wanted to go to a restroom. So he slapped the door knocker strongly and yelled, open the door! Open the door! There was an old man on the duty that night. The old man showed up and saw the 2 gourds of wine hanging on Yi She's waist. He also liked drinking. So the old man smiled and said, wow, my lord, is that imperial wine? You see, you have drunk like this. You can't drink so much wine. Can you share some of the imperial wine with me? I have never tasted imperial wine in my entire life. So the old man asked Yi She for the wine. Not only Yi She did not give it, he also yelled at the old man. How dare you ask me for the wine? Look in the mirror. Who you think you are? You're just a doorman. Bah! After his words, he shook his leaves and walked away clumsily. The old man thought to himself, okay, you spit on me and treated me like a dirt. We'll wait and see. You'll be sorry. Then the old man went back to his room and took out a basin of water. When he saw nobody was around, he splashed the water on the corner and then went back to sleep with the basin in his arms. Because it was in winter, it was very cold. A big lump of water formed in the corner of the wall. And the ancient people were very superstitious. So the next morning, when the king went to the court and saw that lump of ice, he got furious. He immediately called 300 guards and warriors who were on duty last night, and those people knelt down before the king in rows and rows. And the king said, who did this? Why would there is such a lump of ice? To him, this lump of ice was a bad omen, implying bad luck. And he said, if you don't tell me the truth, I will kill you all. All people did not know what happened. And that time, the old man knelt down and crawled to the feet of the king. And he said, your majesty, Nobody came to the gate last night. Only your friend Isha came to ask me to open the door for him, and he was drunk. He really had poor manners after drinking. He asked me to open the door for him, and he said he would like to go to the restroom where the restroom was. And I told him if we get out from the door and turn the left, he would find the restroom. But he said he could not wait it anymore. Then while I was opening the door, he ran to the corner and untied his pants and stood over there for a while. That was why there would be this lump of ice. On hearing this, the king got furious, and he said, I treat him so well, but he is shameless. He immediately called 300 guards to go to Isha's home, and the poor man Isha was still sound asleep in the bed, and he was taken out of the bed. The whole family, including Isha, were executed immediately. So what can we learn from this story? First, we should treat people, regardless of their social positions, with respect. And when Isha said no to the doorman, he could just say no directly. He should not make a personal attack. But he said no in such a blunt and rude way that hurt the old man's pride. Although Isha's social status was much higher than the doorman, he should treat others with respect. If you offend a gentleman in life, it was not very dangerous because gentlemen can handle their differences openly and still respect each other. But if you offend a bad person, you will be in trouble. They might not say anything bad before you, but they might stab you in the back. And what is more difficult is no bad person would have a label before their forehead saying, I'm a bad person, be careful. So a safe way is to treat people with respect, regardless of their social positions. Second, how to say no politely. There are 3 stages that you can say no politely. Stage 1, you can express your opinion and admit it that no, and say no to others. Stage 2, you explain the reason behind the no, why you would say no. Stage 3, you provide an alternative solution. For example, if Isha used this method to say no to the doorman, perhaps he would not have been killed. Stage 1, he can say this to the doorman, I'm sorry that I cannot share the wine with you. Stage 2, explain the reason. This is because this wine was rewarded by the king, and if I shared it with you, that would be disrespect for the king. At stage 3, provide alternative solutions. I have some tasty wine back at home, and I can bring that wine sometime in the future. How does that sound to you? I hope you enjoyed this story. If you want to hear more stories, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.